Welcome back to the C Morning Show. And now the 7.1 magnitude quake that struck Kyushu, Japan earlier this month has reignited discussions in Indonesia, especially about the potential threat of megathrust earthquakes.
Caused by the shifts of tectonic plates, the massive quakes could trigger tsunamis and pose severe risks to those in affected areas. Indonesian weather agency BMKG has identified 13 potential megathrust segments all across Indonesia with possible magnitudes that could reach up to 9.2 on a Richter scale.
While the warning aims to raise awareness rather than incite panic, authorities stress the need for public education and also disaster mitigation.
This is a very worrying issue indeed, Sarah, and to find out more insights on this matter, this morning we are joined by South Lebak Mitigation Group, or GMLS Director, Pak Anis Faisal Reza. Good morning. You're more known to your peers as Abah Lala. Good morning, Pak. Thank you for being here.
Morning, Paul. Morning, Sarah.
Okay, so let's talk, first start off before we talk about the possible megathrust quakes that could happen. Tell us a little bit first about GMLS and what your main objectives are.
Okay, it started with my transfer to South Lebak in 2014. Then I realized that area is a tsunami-prone area for tsunami, and I and my wife were shocked that the locals, especially the village government, had a little understanding about the disaster risk. Then we began to prepare our family preparedness. Then soon I formed a radio amateur community that can serve as a communication tool during a disaster. And when 2020 megathrust and tsunami gained media attention, I formed a community called GMLS, South Lebak Mitigation Group, to educate the people how to prepare such disaster risk. So, because at the time, mitigation is not a mainstream activity. Actually, until now.
Even until this day. Okay. And when did you begin GMLS? Well, as a basically something that is not just personal for you, but for those in the area. Since
Yes.
when?
We think that as we may be victim, then we must prepare ourselves to survive. That's why
You asked your peers to help
as
you.
my
and
friends,
made the
as my colleagues,
Okay.
as my neighbors.
What year was it? You started
2017.
2017, and now it's 2024. And you
Yes.
mentioned before that not many people are aware of the mitigation
Yes.
that they need to take.
Even after 7 years.
Even after
Yeah.
7 years,
Yes.
and probably growing up in schools, we probably, although we are a disaster-prone country here in Indonesia, even I personally don't remember in the back of my mind being trained on a consistent schedule
At all.
at all.
Really?
We had once or twice,
Right.
but not consistently. I don't know about school nowadays, but I think
Yep.
that's a very, very interesting point that you have to point out for the public to be aware. But can you please tell us on how to prepare, like a small community, to prepare for tsunami or any other disasters? How can you know if a community is ready? What do they have to prepare?
Okay, naturally we have to learn the challenge, to learn the risk, and then we can learn how to survive. But UNESCO, especially Intergovernmental Oceanography Committee, has set a program called Tsunami Ready Recognition Program.
Okay.
That we can reference program to prepare our community in facing such a disaster.
Well, what does it mean to be tsunami ready?
Tsunami Ready is a voluntary-based and performance-based recognition initiative that propose a collaborative action between authorities, scientists, community leaders, and the public to prepare themselves in facing such disaster risk potential.
Okay, and we're actually having a look at it right now. We're going to try to zoom in and give you an idea. So this is it involves a lot of different parties as well. Can you explain a little bit about what we're looking at here in regards to the Tsunami Readiness Program?
Since the beginning, we reference 12 indicators of Tsunami Ready Program.
Yes.
We can read the 12 indicators in the table on the left. Then we are helped by many collaborators, many institutions have joined the Tsunami Ready Program collaboration. In just 2 years, there were 26 institutions have joined the Tsunami Ready Program in our village, Panggarangan.
This is just in one village, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, and how many villages are there in Indonesia, do you know?
That's interesting. BMKG told us that in Indonesia there are 5,744 tsunami-prone villages.
Tsunami-prone villages only, wow.
For the tsunami-ready villages, how many are there?
And in 2022, only 4.
4? You being one of them?
Only 4 had received tsunami ready recognition from UNESCO, including our village Panggarangan.
Okay, so that is extremely small percentage looking at it from a wider scope.
What is stopping these villages from getting the recognition? Is it because from their willingness to mitigate their people, or what is the greatest challenge?
It is our huge nation homework, because mitigation, I told you before that mitigation is not mainstream.
Yes.
For us, that not like Japan, not like Japan people, we as a nation always forget about what happened in the past.
Until it happens again.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
But then mitigation and stuff, it is like muscle memory. You have to be able to train yourself day by day, probably on a weekly or monthly basis. So we have to start from our families first, just to be safe. And then here you have with you, Tas Siaga Bencana. It's a bag for us to prepare ourselves when a disaster strikes, God forbid, knock on wood. But please, can you please show us what do we have to prepare inside this bag?
This is so Tas Siaga Bencana would be emergency, like your go bag, isn't that what they call it?
Disaster supply kit.
Yes.
Disaster supply kit.
Yes. In 2017, this disaster supply kit is
put it on the table.
I can put it right here.
Relatively new for people of Indonesia.
Okay.
But this is what we must prepare.
And this is for each individual household should have something like this.
Yes.
Any kind of disaster-prone area. Okay.
So we can take.
What are we looking at here?
First, of course, what do we have?
We have our first aid kit.
Okay.
And then
water.
We must have water.
Okay.
And then
ideally we should have 3 liters.
3 liters of water.
3 liters of water.
Okay.
And then snacks.
Snacks.
Okay.
Snacks that.
Flashlight.
Flashlight.
As well.
In case of power outage, and then clothes, warm clothes.
Oh, extra clothes to have. Right. Okay.
Even blanket. and blanket, and then
toiletries, your personal needs.
Yes.
And of course, a phone.
Phone, if you have spare a phone.
Oh, okay. So like, you know how we have like old units that when we upgrade our phones?
Yes.
I have one in the house as well that we barely ever use. Stick that in the bag as well, because you
Just in
never
case,
know, right?
yes,
Okay.
to be prepared.
And this is a radio, and
What sort of radio is that?
you can monitor information from the authority
Oh, for
during the
information.
emergency.
Right.
Yes.
So that works off of regular radio airwaves, right?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you can. So in case of anything, there's power outages or anything, you can still get, because they'll still be sharing
Yes.
information over radio.
Yep.
Oh, right. I never thought of this.
And this is also very important for some
Yes.
people who
Yep.
might forget is a whistle, because you'll
Whistle.
never know.
Yeah. If you're stuck
Gauge
on
attention.
Especially for our kids, our children.
Right. Okay.
And you have to teach your children.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay. So you know, we'll talk about that in a minute, because we have educational tools
Yes.
for kids to make sure they're prepared. What's
It's just an example of we have to prepare petty cash.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So how much is ideal to have? Just anything? Anything you can
I don't think there's a standard number for
Okay.
the money, but you just prepare it.
Okay, in my household, we have to hide this one somewhere in a secret pocket so my kids don't get to it, just in case.
Well, in my household now everything's digitalized and
Yeah,
everything.
nobody has cash.
Yeah.
No one has cash anymore, but then
Right.
we still need cash
Yes.
in times of disasters.
Okay.
And of course, we have a mask right here as well, and more
Yeah.
toiletries. And this is also important, Paul, which
that?
is important documents.
document,
Oh, you should
such
see
as
this.
example right here.
identification, passport, or anything.
Okay, so likely, like I keep a lot of my important documents in my little safe
Yes.
in my home. So that should all these like for example documents should be in some sort of plastic protective.
Yes.
Right. So we put that in a protective case, because I have it in a protective case in my safe. That way, if I ever need to grab it, I'll just grab it all in one little pack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And here is
This
just
the guide.
Oh, it's
A summary.
reminder.
Yeah.
Which you need to have in there.
there
Okay.
you go.
So something like this, is this provided by the local community, or is it just advisable for us to put this thing together ourselves in our households?
We must put together ourselves.
Okay, so this is something we need to do on our
It's just an example.
Okay, all right.
And this is very interesting. I'm sorry. That you mentioned about this is very important for our kids with the whistle. We'll grab
Yes.
it later on, because teaching little children on how, of course, without creating fear inside their for little kids is a very challenging tone. How can we give or convey the message on how important it is to prepare ourselves for disasters, but without scaring them too much?
That's what. That is why the children must practice at home, at school.
Okay.
2 days ago, 47 kindergarten school come to learn mitigation with GMLS. That's makes me happy because it means that they realize that mitigation is a need for them.
Okay. And when you had these kids, you have tools such as this. Now this looks like your typical board game, Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah.
We've all played this as kids.
Yes.
So this is an activity that you do with children. What is the purpose of this game?
Okay. Educate mitigation must adjusted to their age.
Okay.
BMKG cannot educate children like educate adults. We must consider the age, and most importantly, for children, it must be fun.
To be fun.
Yes.
So you have these books, you have these
Yes, it must be
board
fun
games.
and in accordance with the present.
Okay, I'm looking at this now. It's really cute. So when you reach the spots with the ladders, it's when you do things you're supposed to be doing. For example, helping your friends, smiling at them, caring about them, so in case they need something,
Yes.
listen to your teacher. But then the snakes are things that you shouldn't be doing, the red boxes.
Yes.
For example, making a joke to your, or playing a prank on your friend during times of
Yeah.
disaster. That will bring you down a few steps, or getting upset at somebody, or making fun of somebody, or not sharing. This is what's important as well. If you have some resources you need to share. So this actually embeds into the children's mind what is right and what is wrong during times of disaster. It actually makes it really simple. I love this.
In a very, very fun way as well.
And especially this board game designed to educate children to build the empathy.
The empathy, yes, which is very much needed in everyday life, and especially, And then, speaking of now being prepared for any disasters, especially tsunamis with the megathrust, what can you address to our viewers right now who are probably now living in fear of the information they are receiving from the news they are reading, and of course the potential megathrust probably in any cities or any parts of
Because
the
let's face it, a tsunami or natural disaster is not something we can avoid. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But how can we feel more safe day to day about it? Right?
Absolutely, especially how it's still very much in our memory of what happened in Palu, what happened in Aceh.
Absolutely.
You see, GMLS started with my fear, with my fear. We have to be fear.
Okay. Fear is actually
from
good.
fears.
Yeah.
Then from fears, we must transform the energy to a positive effort.
Yes.
Agree.
What effort? Preparation. Readiness.
Okay. So we have to embrace the fear because it's
do not
natural.
deny.
Do not deny.
Do not deny. We have in a dangerous area in Italy, the so-called pericolosamente. We live in every day in with the danger. That's
just fact.
Yes.
That's the fact
of life that we have to accept, and you can never be too prepared. There's always a saying, right? The more prepared you are, the better we will be.
Do not live in fear, but we have to change that fear into being prepared.
Do not count on everybody. Do not count on government. Do not count on everyone else. We must count on ourselves.
And I think if the whole community has that mindset, then it would just be better. And I hope that that number of 4 villages continue to go up as more and more groups like yours continue to help the community in order to be more prepared. Thank you so much, Abah Lala, for coming by with us today and sharing more with us and your experiences. And good luck with and we hope that your initiatives are continued in other villages as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abah Lala. And we are up for another commercial break here on the C Morning Show, but stay with us because when we return, we will bring you updates from all around the world.